Welcome back to the Mistwalkers. We are doing our set review for the newest set Everfest for Flesh and Blood. Today we are going to be talking about the Guardian cards. Guardian has been overflow of riches over the last set. And Everfest is no exception. So first up is our fabled, which is the grandeur of Valaha. So this is like the other gems. They all pitch for 3. And when you pitch it, you gain something. In this case, since it's a Guardian resource, you gain a seismic surge token. All of the gems are really good resources. Typically, the ones that are played. You've got the one that makes that's for Visage that makes a Rune Blade token, and now you've got the Guardian one that makes a Seismic Surge. You've got the Findel one, which gains a life. That one's okay. So these are obviously more collector's pieces, but occasionally they will find their way into decks, and which is funny because this is creates a seismic surge and produces 3 resources, which is exactly what you want to be doing as a Guardian. So, but let's talk about the star of the show. Bravo has the essence of earth, ice, and lightning. At the start of your turn, you can reveal an earth, ice, and lightning card from your hand. If you do, the next attack action card, it costs 3 or greater. You play this turn. Gains +2 attack, dominate, and go again. So my thought about this Bravo is if you're playing this Bravo, you're playing it to have access to the earth, ice, and lightning cards, particularly the earth and the ice cards. Because this secondary ability is going to be damn hard to pull off. Because the more you water down your deck with different elements, the more non-brute cards you have in your deck, and brute cards are ridiculous. So if you're playing this, I think it's basically only for the ability to use earth and ice cards. I don't even think lightning is in the picture here. It's interesting. I'd like to see where it goes, but for me, I'm going to stick with the old Bravo. All right, Stalagmite Bastion of Eisenloff. By the way, if you haven't seen this card in cold foil, it is gorgeous. Whenever you defend with Stalagmite, create a Frostbite token under the attacking hero's control. And this has Temper, Ice Guardian equipment offhand, 2 defense. So, the biggest question is this better than Rampart, the Lion's Head? My initial thought process is no, because it has temper, which is a big drawback, because you're only going to get to block with this twice. The first time, it'll shrink it from 2 to 1, and the second time, it'll shrink it from 1 to 0, and then after that combat chain closes, it's shattered. So if you're going to run this, you better have a way to extend its life. And right now there's not many cards that do that remove those -1 armor tokens. Now, giving a frostbite to the attacking hero, that's fantastic. But temper is, I understand it's an ice shield. It's going to break. So, flavor-wise, it's great. Design-wise, yeah, it's gonna be difficult for me to play this over Rampart currently. Next up is the young hero Valda Bridax. Many of you saw this in the Armory kit for January. 21 health. When an opponent draws a card during an action phase, create a seismic surge token for each card drawn this way. If you control 3 more seismic surge tokens at the start of your turn, cards you own with Crush gain Dominate. Yuck. Now, here's the thing. So, your go wide aggro strategies are going to absolutely hate her because they got to draw extra cards to go wide. And if they don't end up killing you, you're going to crush them on the following turn. Now, this Guardian has the ability to play real well in multiplayer because of the first ability, and then let you retaliate with the second ability. But there are enough cards right now that create seismic surge tokens that there's a very good chance that your second line of text is going to be very relevant. Definitely one to watch out for in Blitz. Alright, so next up is Earthlore Bounty. This is the Guardian Equipment chest plate. Majestic. When you draw a card from the effects of an action card, create a seismic surge token for each card drawn this way. And it has temper. So, not quite as good there versus tectonic plating. However, this card actually has the ability to make more seismic surge tokens in a single turn than you would ever get off of tectonic plating. For example, so I have, going back to Bravo, Star of the Show, 4 Earth cards. So you can run Earthlore Bounty for your chest plate in that deck, and play Tome of Harvest. So Tome of Harvest costs 3. To play. You draw 3 cards with it, but then you make 3 seismic surge tokens for the following turn. So, in essence, the card ends up being free, as it helps you build resources for following turns to punch your opponent's lights out. You also have Tome of Find Out. Draw 2 cards, then gain 1 life for each card in your hand. Fendo. Sorry, Tome of Fendo. If I'm not looking at it, I'll just butcher it. So yeah, there are so many there was another card I'm thinking of if I can get to it. Of course, Showtime. When Showtime is destroyed, during the start of your next action phase, you draw a card, which will trigger this and give you a discount next for the following turn. And then you have the Blessings of Deliverance. So when you play that, if you have a card you pitch zone that costs 3 or greater, you get to draw a card. Well, guess what? So there's so much that you can do with this card. If you're already running cards that incidentally draw you cards in your deck, the major difference is this has temper, where the plating has battle worn. And you're not having to pitch extra resources every turn to make a single seismic surge token. I think it's definitely worth trying out. I have put this in my Bravo deck to test this with all the additional card draw that's been added in the last few sets for Guardian, whether it's incidental or whatever, because it gives you strong follow-up turns. Speaking of follow-up turns, let's talk about pulverize. So pulverize is going to cost you 10, has 3 defense, 14 attack, heave 3, which is the new mechanic in the set. And when pulverize hits a hero, their first attack on their next turn is -4. So the big thing here is, if you use the heave mechanic, you're going to have to pay 3 for it. But you're creating 3 seismic surge tokens for the following turn. Now, the bad news about this is it has to go face up in an empty arsenal slot. Which means your opponent knows they're fixing to get punched in the mouth. Super Saiyan, one punch man, etc. So this is going to tickle. As such, they know it's coming. Now 14 in Blitz is 3/4 of your life, unless you're Kano, which is 99% of your life. Even in Classic Instructed, 14 is right little bit more than a third of your life. It's insane. This is a card that's going to require setup. It might even require you to take a turn off. And there's more than one heave card in here. This one just hits like a freight train. So I don't know how many of these I would be putting in my deck. 10 is a lot, even if you're paying 3 up front layaway for it, and then paying 7 the next turn. 7 the next turn is still 3 cards. So, but boy, if you can hit somebody with it. Imposing visage. So the cost of this is X and 3. Search your deck for an aura card with cost X or less, put it into the arena, then shuffle. Go again. So this is going to cost you 2 cards. Going to cost you 3, and then whatever your aura costs. So I'll take one, for example, out of Tales of Aria. If I can get to it. Whee! Embolden. So Embolden costs 4. So you'd have to pay 7 to play an Embolden. Now, I originally thought this card was crazy good when I first read it. But I think most of the auras that I've seen out of Guardian are cost at least 2, so you're having to pay at least 5 for the card. Now, there's a few of them that are worth looking at. The first one that I thought of was Forge for War, giving all your equipment +1 for the following turn. But the big one to search for, Stamp Authority. Enters the arena if you have 2 or more cards in your pitch zone with 3 or greater cost. Your hero gains +1 intellect until end of turn. And attack action cards do not trigger when they hit. From Crucible. So it's basically a tutor. The problem is you're having to spend at least 3 cards on this. The 3, the X, and then this card. So I was really excited at first to be able to search up certain things. And if you're running an aura heavy build, maybe this is a good card as a sideboard card, but I think I'm going to pass for the moment. Now this card, holy crap is this card bonkers. Nerves of Steel, 3 cost. When it enters the arena, remove a -1 armor counter from a chest equipment you control. So you remember what I was talking about with temper? Yep. Battle worn and temper on equipment you control don't trigger if it defends an attack with 2 attack or less. When your hero is dealt damage, destroy nerves of steel. This aura is straight up bonkers. Particularly in the certain matchups that you want. If you're not playing against Ruined Blade, or maybe if you are playing against Ruined Blade, and they're trying the small attacks that are 2 or less that deal X amount of arcane, you block the arcane with cards from your hand, and then you use the equipment to block the physical portion. Now, but being able to just not trigger that and clear off a token is dumb. And also, it's one of the few R's that actually stays in play. Maybe not the entire game, but X number of turns in the game. Alright, now we get into the rares. So Thunder Quake is a 6 for 10 in red. Heave 3. So you pay 3 layaway to put it face up in your arsenal. 3 defense, and it also has flavors in yellow for 9 and blue for 8. So there's no on-hit effect, but the fact that you can pay half of it the previous turn and the rest of it on your turn is pretty good. Gonna definitely be trying these out, particularly the blues. Not sure if I'm going to try the yellows or the reds yet. Macho Grande. So this is another high cost card. So it's 7 for 10. 3 defense and dominate. And 9 and 8. The blue isn't great value because it's because it costs 7 to do 8 damage, but having dominate and 3 defenses is really good. I've already slotted some of these in my deck. Seismic Stir. 2 cost, create 3 Seismic Surge tokens, go again. And then 2 and 1 based on color. I have actually put 3 of the reds in my deck. Again, this is pay now for more Seismic Surge turns later. These are going to be cards that you got to set up. You're probably going to have to play with to get right. So it may not end up working out, but I'm going to think this is pretty cool. Alright, Steadfast. This is a 3-cost Guardian instant. Prevent the next 6 damage that would be dealt to your hero this turn by a source of your choice. And again, it also comes in yellow for 5, prevent 5 damage, and blue for prevent 4 damage. So this card doesn't block for anything. So if you actually want to use it, you're going to have to play it. Um, is preventing damage better than, straight up blocking? Depends on how many cards you're going to be using. You could use the red one to prevent an attack of 6 from one single source, which is really good. The highest defense you have on a single card is 3, unless you're playing a defense reaction. So there's definitely some pros to this. Now, of course, the bad part is it does cost you something with this, other than just a card from hand. It will be interesting to see if this is a viable sideboard card in certain matchups. My thinking is no, but I could be wrong. And of course, the seismic surge token. So that's it for the Guardian class. Check back with us tomorrow, and we'll go over the Ninja. Until next time, even in Wraith, there is no escape from the Tiger.